Okay, so we're gonna talk about CSC200, right? Chapter 3.1, Printf, and if else, and Javadoc. So print, we already know how to print using what? System.out.print, right? So what's the difference between print and println? Right, println will make a new line, like move the cursor to the next line, right? Print is pretty much just continue printing on the same line, right? And then we have printf. So what's printf? Print with the format. Okay, F like stand for format. All right. So let's take a look at this first. You are required to write an application to prompt the user with the following options. Okay, so meaning that if the user enter option 1, you're going to use print line. If the user enter option 2, you're going to use printf. So we talk about if now, right? Like if else statement has to be involved, right? So let's look at the syntax for if else in Java. So we said if, and you have to evaluate the condition, right? Condition, this is going to be a Boolean statement. Boolean statement that you need to know. Boolean mean, right, it can either return true or false, right? So this is condition, which is the Boolean expression. Now, an example of Boolean expression is very simple math, like, for example, if I say x equals to 5, x greater than 0, this should be true, right? So if I say if x greater than 0, so that's the Boolean expression, right? Then it's going to surrounding with the curly braces for the true statement, right? So I'm going to just print out. Right, so I'm going to print out true, right? Now, this is pretty much if also followed by else. Else in the scenarios that is not true is surrounding by curly braces too. And it's going to print statement or do whatever you want it to do, whether it's true or false. That's pretty much just the syntax, right, for the if else statement. Okay. Now you may see sometimes people omitting to use the curly braces. So when you use curly braces, we can put multiple statements. Like this could be statement, right, 1, and then statement 2, and so on. So that means when it is true, the expression is true, then it's going to execute all the 1, 2, 3 statements, all the statements that surrounding with the curly braces. Okay, like if you happen to omitting the curly braces like that, then the only statement that would be executed where it's true is going to be statement 1. Okay. So, and statement 2, statement 3 is just like another expressions in your program or another Java code, right? So, in this case, when you run this program, it's going to give an error because it pretty much doesn't understand what this else wise has to be there. This else seems like it's missing another if. That makes sense? Okay. And you're going to see some tricky question in your test that has to do with if else statement. And we're going to learn how to evaluate that, because it's not going to be just one if else statement. It could be multiple if else statement. It could be nested if else statement. right? Nested mean like if it's true, you're going to evaluate another if. Also, we want to make sure x is also less than 5. See that? In this case, x equals to 5, it will not execute this, right? But it's going to execute. Like this is called nested, right? Another statement inside. Where it's false, it's true for the first one. Where it's false for the second, the nested. Nested means it's if else inside another if else. And then it's going to execute this statement. And then it's going to still print like true and false. Alright, now how are we going to write a program to use if else to do print and printf, right? So let's talk about printf first. Now we understand if else. So printf, we want to print the format. So let's look at some example. Like printf itself is actually using in C++ too. Like Java pretty much is very close to C++, or it's being developed from C++. So it's pretty much very similar, like in the term of printf. So let's look at some of example first. This is in C++, right? So when you print, you said we want to print the statement in a quotation. You could use %C. This is representing a character or the char, data type. So /n is new line, we already know that, escape sequence, right? So meaning that I want to print a letter A first. Like in this case, this is like a placeholder for a character. If I have two %C, I have two placeholders for two characters. So meaning that when you do printf, you have to add two more arguments for those characters' values. And it's going to be in order. Like the first one will replace the first placeholder. That's why I print out the lowercase a. Now 65 is an ASCII, right? We talk about ASCII. It's the capitalized A, right? For character A here, right? 65 is the ASCII code for that. Now, let's look at another example. If I want to print out the decimal, D stands for decimal, or the number, right? Decimal number. So we can do 1977 to replace that placeholder %D. And this is for long, right? Long is another data type, right? So we do capitalize L at the end to distinguish between like long type and this is pretty much an int like type. Okay. This is another example of format. So if I don't put any number on %D, it's just like placeholder to replace the value like 1977. But if I put 10 in front, so this pretty much just going to append spaces in front. Okay, including the number that you try to display and make sure that 10. Okay. So spaces in front about 6 and 1977 is another 4. So it's going to be occupying 10 spaces. Okay? So that's what it is here. Meaning that you could format your printout, right? Like with the system.out.print, if you want to add spaces, you technically have to do spaces on your own, right? Inside quotation. But this one you can just use percentage 10 spaces. Now, if you said, okay, this is just 10 spaces, but if I want, actually I want preceding with 0 and 10, that means the length of the printout of the number. The number is a decimal number, right? So that means including 1977, so preceding 0 is going to be 6 more. Because 1977 is 4, so that's going to give you 10 in the length, right? And when we put 0 in front, meaning that that's preceding 0. Okay, so now let's look at some different radices, right? So the first one is simple percentage D100, but this is X should represent hexadecimal, right? So what is the hexadecimal of 100? $64, right? So you can do printout in different base, right, system. Okay. This should be, what should be the octet, right? Base 8, right? Of 100, it's going to be 144. You technically could verify to the calculator too. This is octet, right? Decimal hexa. So if I want to try octet 144, decimal is going to be 100, hexa is 64, right? As we see right there. And now if you want to put, like this one doesn't show like the symbol OX represents hexadecimal, you could just add the, sometimes you call hashtag here or pound sign, right? It's going to append the radix. This is called like to identify the number that you're printing. This is base 16. Otherwise you may thought it's just base 10, right? And this is just the same as the octet, base 8. Now, how about float? Float is pretty much just with a decimal point, right? So, for F is for float. I want to print this number 3.1416. And we have 4. 4 means the length, right? The length has to be 4. And 0.2, that means only 2 digits after the decimal point. So if you look at 3.1416, the length is actually 4, including the decimal point. And then only 2 digits printing out. You try to format the number 3.1416 when you print out, it's going to be 3.14 with this format, percentage 4.2F. And you can also represent in the term of exponents by using percentage point OE. So plus is pretty much just the addition, like positive, right, numbers. And then this is going to print out as the exponent. of 3.1416. So say positive, and then 3. And this is pretty much just 10, right? 10 to the power of zeros, right? In this case, because it's 3, right? And since you put 0.0, that's why it's just calculate as just 3 point, right? Not the decimal places. Alright, so now let's look at percentage capitalized E. So this is also showing the exponents, right? So it's going to print it as the exponents format. Alright, so now let's look at another one with trick. So how about if I want to do percentage and then asterisk D, right? And then go a new line, right? So this should print so this is going to be a placeholder for the width, right? The width of this is going to be 5. And then, like this is for the width, right? 5. And then the number that you want to print is 10. And lastly is when you want to print string, you use percentage S. So that's pretty much how you use Printf. And this is exactly the same in Java. So what we can do, we're going to test that out, okay? Like for your class exercises, you have to write an option, if else, and once user pick the option, then you print using either print line or printf based on the option that user selected. Okay, and now you are required to use percentage S, percentage C, percentage D, percentage E, and percentage F that we just discussed earlier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the Oracle virtual machine again, and then we're going to write an VI, right? Use VI to write the Java code. Now, this is the one that I used last time, the machine name Ubuntu that I show you how to install, right? Ubuntu on the machine. So let's start the computer. This is a virtual machine. Now, since we're waiting for this to boot up, I'm going to talk about requirements. So you're required to use a single line comment. So Java has 3 types of comments, right? So single line, multiple line, Javadoc comment. Okay, and you're required to generate the Javadoc and use if else. Okay, let's review the comment part again. So when you code like this, you could always add a single line comment, right? Like true statement. So that's a single line, right? So, but if you want to do multiple line, you have to do /*, right? Single line mean when you want another second line, you have to do // again, right? And then you add the comments, right? But multiple line, you don't have to keep adding // You can just do /* to start, right, where you want to put your comment. Like this one, you can have multiple lines of the comments surrounding with /* and then close with */. So the last one is a Javadoc. Javadoc used to slash asterisk asterisk and asterisk slash. So this is pretty much your Javadoc comments. So the contents that's surrounding with this will be going as a description on your Javadoc once you generate it. And we're gonna learn how to generate that too. Alright, so we're going to go to the terminal. So I'm going to use Vim to create a file for, so we talk about chapter 3, right? Chapter 3-1, okay? Okay, so Vim is an editor similar to VI. So we don't have it yet. VI should have, but we don't have Vim, so I'm going to install it. And that's a command to install. Could I get lock? Open. So let's say this is a command sudo. Sudo is pretty much just a temporary, make the user become a root as a temporary run the command. So root is pretty much as an admin in Unix, right? When I try to install something, I need to pretty much just enter my password, right? But now it looks like it said could not get resource temporary unavailable, so it cannot locate that package lock. Pretty much they may not be able to find that. So what we're gonna do, we get to go to command and use VI first, then when we didn't have to spend time fixing this yet. Alright, so this is a VI editor, so we start to type. So I use Vim, it's pretty much just more colorful, easy to read. All right, so so in VI, it's a little bit tricky to use, right, up and down and left and right arrows. You may see if we that I have typed something mistake and then use X to delete. You just used like J, K, J is down, K is up, H is to the left, L is to the right, just like an arrow. Cursors. And then you have to do I to insert, right? All right, so let's talk about how we're going to write a program to read an option from the user. So what we like to learn so far to read input, what we have learned so far, how to read input with Java, FX. Okay, if you want to use FX, how do I get it? So I use text input dialog, right? So in Unix, there's a command that you can insert line above, right? So we were talking about, I mean, in VI, right? There's going to be a cheat sheet to show you again, like some VI command. So I want to insert line above. What's the key that I need? Inserting, we do I, insert text, right? A, append text, right? O, you see, we do, when you do caps O, you insert line above, right? Like that. And now I can do I to start to type insert, right? Or actually I need to import, so I have to delete this first. Text input dialog, it should be under what? Java FX, right? Java FX. Dot. So what is it? What's the package for that? Is it scene? Dot dialog or? So if you don't know, you can check on the Javadoc. And how to read this is telling you here javafx.scene, that's the package name, dot control, right, and dot text input dialog, right? I keep typing wrong here. LOG, right? And then okay. Alright, so text input dialog. So now I have to instantiate an object, correct? So we're gonna call the object as text input dialog. So it's keep doing the insert key here. I want to get off the insert key. So it should say insert text before cursor, insert text at the beginning of current line. After I have to use A, right? Lowercase a. After cursor. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be equals to new text input dialog. And you can put the text inside quotation for the constructor. This is called constructor. To say select your option. Select option 1 to use print, right, or option 2 to use Printf, and in close quotation. All right. So that's how we use the text input dialog. Now, we're going to use the method, right, for user to input in. So we're going to use show and wait, right? So it's going to be text input dialog dot show and wait. So show and wait will return an optional. And optional, we need to, optional is a class, so we need to import that class. And optional, it should be under java.util.optional. So now we're gonna have to put optional right here, right? And this is going to be giving type as string type. Let's say it's input then equals to okay. So now we get input. So what's the next step? You need to get the value. Input service is optional. We need to get the value from the input. This is just talking about how to use the input dialog, right? So how to get the value for we just say .get. So this will returns the string value that the user entered in. So then we need to pretty much just declare a string like option, right? So option itself is going to hold the values, right? Now we want to get the option to compare if it's option 1 or 2, right? So we probably want to insert an if-else statement here, right? If option, now this is a string, we have the method equals, right? Equals to 1. We said if the option is equals to 1, else pretty much we can do else itself or do else if. You can do, if you want to check again, you can do else if option equals to 2. Alright, so now let's insert some spaces to make indent it to make it easier to read. So what we're going to do when it's option equals to 1, we said we're going to use print, right? So what we try to print, let's create the question then. So you can display any statement of your choice. Okay? So pretty much you can print anything that you want, right? Okay, so if it's equals to 1, the thing that you need to do is just make sure you use what? You use the print statement right here. Use the print or print line, right? Now this is for else if. So for else if we want to use printf. So let's see how do we use printf in Java. So you can do the same system.out.print, but you're going to do printf instead of print or println, right? Now when we do printf, we want to display so the requirement said you want to use %s for string. So if I say hello %s, and we have to use the comma. For the parameters that you pass in, like in this case, we want to print, let's say, hello David, right? You also can print. So it seems like you don't need to use the Javadoc to display the dialog because it's practicing how to use print and printf here. And printf itself, you also need to print the C stand for the characters. So we can say, like the statement is up to you, right? So you can say characters, but we need to say %c. Now when we use this, we can use the actual characters, or we can use the ASCII code, like that. And again, the statement is up to you, so you don't really need to worry about what you to display. So now %c has been used. It's also asked for %d, %e, and %f, right? %d is the decimal. So you technically can put any decimal number. Like decimal in this case is like the whole number, like int, short, long. And another one is percentage. E, right, for the exponents. And then you could put some decimal numbers that you want to print as exponents. All right, so another one is %f for float, or the decimal numbers with the decimal points. Alright, so it looks like that should be it. So what we're going to do, we're going to write and save the program and exit out. We need to recompile this code. Alright, so there's errors that we need to fix. Yeah, so I'm missing the closing parentheses for the condition if on both places. Let's recompile again. Control.text input dialog. Javadoc.scene.control. Let's check the package for text input dialog. So it said this package does not exist. Scene.control. So if the spelling is not wrong, then we have to check on the JDK version. So JavaX going to be available after 1.8, like 1.8 and higher. I remember I installed 1.8 last time, right? Package does not exist. So I think one thing that we need to fix too. I'm using application. This is JavaX. I need to extend the class to application, right? And the method has to be start, and this should be override. Notation override, and this has to be start because we're using Javadoc, right? Alright, so if I want to delete the word main, in VI also have the command that you can use. Deleting text. DW, right? The single word. Like that, right? So you can delete the whole word. So this has to be, the argument has to be stage, right? Not string args anymore. So let me do delete. And this is going to be stage, primary stage. I mean, that's the format of JavaFX, right? All right, let's see what type of errors we get again. So still problem with the, okay, we need to import application to import stage too. So let's see, application should reside in JavaFX dot application package. Application dot application, and we need to import stage. So what is the package for stage? JavaFX dot stage. What else do we need to overwrite? To import. So it looks like it's still something wrong with text input dialog, right? It still cannot find application, huh? Is it right? Let me see. Oh, I look at the old one. Actually, the problem is application now, which this is telling me that if I spelling this correctly, package correct, then this is telling me that JDK that we have doesn't have JavaFX, right? Packages. So how do we check the JDK version of our Ubuntu here? Java dash version. It's 1.8131. So that should have the JavaFX. So let me verify the package one more time. But I think that is correct. JavaFX dot application. Okay, so it looks right. Now let's see, I'm going to search a little bit to see what happened. So we have version is, let's verify the version again. 1.8.0_131. So JDK 1.8.0_FX packages does not exist. Yeah, OpenJDK problem. This one has that too. Let me see. So OpenJDK likely does not include JavaFX. That's why. So we have to install OpenJFX. Okay. So we have to do sudo app install OpenJFX. All right, so we're installing the libraries for JavaFX. So it's good to know, huh? I think maybe I didn't try with Ubuntu before OpenJDK. So let's see, that's not. It doesn't come. You have to install the JavaFX separately. All right, so after installing, we're going to recompile it again. So we can look at, while we're waiting, look at the JavaFX input dialog, right? The way that we use here. So we could set the title, set header text, right? This is title and header text. So now I didn't do that. I just use the default and make it show. You could set the contents too. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna recompile again. Though this time it's better. So now start. Oh, it's not supposed to be statics, right? If it's statics, you can overwrite. So we're gonna do delete word. Okay, text input dialog, show and wait. I happen to use uppercase T. That is not right because it has to refer to instance name lowercase t, right? Right here, right? All right, no more errors, so we're gonna run it. Okay. It's right there. Hidden. All right, so select option 1 to use print. That's why we should set the contents tag, right? This one is the default values. So let me just do 1. It should print, you have to select 1, right? So let me modify the code a little bit, then the user understand that what the user is supposed to do. And this could be a default values, right? So what we can do, we can select this and cut or delete Now, how do we do that with VI, right? In VI, you can use moving the cursor. We've seen that. Deleting, we can delete the number of words, right? How many words are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's do the 12. There you go. And then we can just make the default values to 1. Okay? So I type the 12W is going to delete 12 words from the cursor location. Okay. This is the command for VI. So now we want to set what? The content, right? Let's set title to be print versus printf demo. And we gotta set content text. Say select option 1 for print and option 2 for printf demo. Alright, so let's try to see what we get. There you go. Looks better, right? So tell user to select option. Let's try 2 this time. That did the printf. I happen to not using the new line, that's why it's just appending on the same line here. So if we want to use new line with printf, we just do /n at the end of the like the placeholder for each. Like that, right? /n. Now in VI you can copy and paste too. So if I want to keep copy /n, we can do NYY. NYY is copy the whole line, right? Or current line you use YY. P is paste, right? N is if you want to copy more than just one line, right? But we actually want to copy the word, right? deleting text, change, replaced, this is change word. Yeah, this CSS doesn't have that. So, like copy, paste word in VI. So you want to position the cursor where you want to begin cutting. Press V to select the characters. Uppercase V to select whole lines. We only want to do V, right? Or Ctrl V to select rectangular blocks. Use Ctrl Q. Move the cursor to the end. Press D to cut. Or Y to copy. If you cut, you do D. Y, you do copy. Alright, so it said V, right? Use V. Let's see. So I'm gonna move my cursor to here and use V, right? And say, after I do V, move the cursor in a box like that, huh? Like I hold the Control, say, or Control V to select the rectangular blocks. Because V is to select the characters, right? But we don't want to select whole line. So let's do the V again. And to the end where you want to cut, right? It says move the cursor to the end where you want to cut or copy. Then you start to do Y, copy. Okay, so let's try that. Y. And now I need to paste right here, right? P. Let me try again. I want to paste right here. Doesn't do it. So let's try again. Let's do the V one. Like Control V. And I just want to copy. Maybe let's try that. And then, oh, it works, huh? By just having these two, which we will have to delete it. There you go. Now let's do P again. Because when I delete it, actually, when I do D, it delete. As remember why delete. Alright, so if I do Control V and move, right? Then it's going to copy by using Y, and then you go down and do P. See that? But it has to be a lot. So if I do U, it's undo. It just needs to be practiced. Yeah. Like, I'm not using it every day too, so I just know. Alright, so I think this is pretty much what you need to do, right? For this class exercise. Now I just need to clean up a little bit to have a new line. Alright, so we got all the new line. Recompile and rerun it. And we're going to try with option 2 again. Alright, so it's print out with a new line. So that's the difference between printf and use if else. Alright, any questions?